Hey guys, it's been a while, what's going on? Have you guys been playing any Octopath Traveler? Because I have, and that's what this video is about. I have this nice new camera and a new microphone, and I wanted to try to do something new with them. And basically what I'll be doing is I'm gonna be documenting my journey through this game. I'm gonna play through the whole game, and I'm always gonna have my camera ready to go next to me and also my video capture software. So whenever I have anything to say about the game, I'm just gonna bleep, start recording, say what I have to say, you know. I really like this aspect of the game and blah 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 blah, and then click stop recording and just keep playing. What you guys just saw at the beginning of the video was me setting up to play the game for the very first time. That's my little ritual whenever I really wanna concentrate on a game. But yeah, let's see what this video turns out to be. One of the interesting aspects of this game is that it doesn't just tell a single grand JRPG story. Instead, it has 8 main characters: the warrior, the scholar, the merchant, the cleric, the dancer, the apothecary, the thief, and the hunter. And each of them has their own individual storyline. And as far as I know, the storylines don't really cross over with each other. So it's 8 completely separate stories that you can play out as you wish. In the beginning you get to pick which character you want to start as, but ultimately it doesn't really matter who you pick, because you can get all 8 characters back to back right in the beginning of the game. But I think it's a fun thing to talk about with people who play the game, just to see which character piqued their interest the most at the start. I personally picked the merchant girl, Tressa, because her story really reminded me of Grandia, which for those who don't know is pretty much my favorite game of all time, or at least my favorite JRPG. Both Tressa and Justin from Grandia live in a port town next to the sea. Tressa's parents own a store and Justin's mom owns a restaurant, and both of them just want to leave home, go on a big adventure and see what the world has to offer.
I don't know what lies beyond the horizon. There's only one way to find out. See ya, Ripple-Tide!
Pew pew pew! Pew pew pew! Whee! I'm an idiot. I'm playing through the backstory of the Hunter character, and the people of her home village have this really weird way of talking. Hornet, prithee do not, Master Zanta would thee not. Like, what are you saying even? I don't understand. Master is a fine teacher, he showeth by example both what a hunter outeth and outeth not to done.
Thou just madest that one up.
You guys wanna know the best thing about this game? And no, it's not this incredible location. It's this. I don't know what it is, but I find the menu transition to be extremely satisfying. Oh yeah. Ooh. I like that. Hey guys, I just wanted to pop in. I'm currently 11 hours, 37 minutes in, so I'm still just going around gathering all the party members that you can get. But I just wanted to gush about how much I'm already loving the game. This game is so up my alley. When I think of what a JRPG is, this is the kind of game I think of. The combination of an interesting visual style, the awesome music, and of course the combat system, which is obviously heavily inspired by the Bravely series. And then it's also got that break system, which really reminds me of Persona, where you have to use specific types of attacks to find the weaknesses in each enemy. It's really simple, but I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, like I said, so far I really enjoy the visuals, the music, and the combat. But there's still the fourth really big part that needs to be filled, which is the story. And so far, it could go either way, really. I have enjoyed most of the backstories of the 5 characters that I've got into my parties so far. The way the backstories of all the characters are told are structurally very similar. You just get the character, get a brief backstory, then something happens that leads you to having to go to a location where you need to kill a big bad guy. Then you go back to your home place, resolve that little conflict that happened, and then that character decides to go on an adventure, and then he joins your party. Generally speaking, that's pretty much the basic story for all 8 characters. So the fact that you have to do that sequence of events with all 8 characters, it's getting a little repetitive. On a side note, god damn it's hot right now in Finland. And all of Europe, we have this crazy heat wave going on. I turned off my fan to not have that ruin the audio for this clip. But goddamn, I'm melting. And I also put a shirt on, and I'm wearing this goddamn winter hat. Just for you guys. I can't make any promises though that by the end of this video you won't see me naked. We're not used to it. We don't have ACs in Finland. What even is an AC? But yeah, let me continue playing.
Hey, what's up guys, this is XX-Horse23XX back again with another unboxing video for you guys. Please leave a like on this video, it really helps me out. And today, we're gonna be unboxing this video game, Octopath Traveler.
Oh my god, my throat. Oh. Oh. Okay, I can't do that intro, it's way too hard. But anyways, I thought boring, ain't nobody wanna watch an unboxing, so let me summarize. Here I say something like, I don't like buying collector's editions anymore that much because they take so much room, but that I also make an exception with JRPGs because I like supporting them. Boring. Okay, here's the first item that comes with it. It's this replica of an in-game coin. It's all damaged and stuff. I like it, it's pretty cool. Boring. And then the next item is this map. Look, it's a pretty cool map. And on the other side of the map, some really nice artwork. Well done. So let's just get rid of this. Ain't nobody wanna watch unboxings. And let's pick it off where it gets good. And the last thing we have here is the pop-up book. But there's one really stupid design choice they made with this pop-up book, which was to glue it onto this freaking special edition. So you can't actually just take it out of it and comfortably look through it. It's always stuck to this thing, which makes it really awkward to look through. But yeah, they made it so every character has its own page in the pop-up book. So let's look through them, and I'll give you my quick first impressions of each of the characters' backstories. First up we have Philia the Cleric. There she is on top of the mountain in her snowy city with the big church in the background. I actually liked her backstory. It was pretty sad, but also very wholesome. I think her story overall is gonna be the most emotional out of all the 8. She's cool, I like her. Next up we have Cyrus. He is the knowledge-seeking scholar in his library. I thought his story was actually pretty boring. It didn't really grab me, so not much else to say about him. Then we have Tressa the Merchant, my favorite character so far. Her story is pretty light-hearted. She's a very naively optimistic and fun character. It's a nice contrast to the seriousness of most of the other stories. There she is on the trader ship that came to her little small hometown. Next we have Albrecht, the humble Stoic knight. I liked his backstory too. I think he is my second favorite character. All of the characters have their own like theme songs, and I think Albrecht's and also Tressa's are my favorite out of all of them. This is from the ending of his backstory. It's a really nice moment where he fights the baddies. He's fun. Whoa. Oh god. This opens like this. This is Primrose the Dancer. Her story is pretty adult. It's a little risque for a Nintendo exclusive.
You would take that tone with me? You're nothing but a stupid whore!
Otherwise her story is a pretty classic revenge tale, and I'm always down for those. Next up we have Alfin the Apothecary. Wow, this is a pretty bad pop-up page. None of the things really pop up. He is probably the most forgettable out of all the characters. His backstory is okay, but it wasn't really that intriguing. Next up we have Therion the Thief. I thought the conclusion to his little backstory section and the reason he leaves on his mission was really dumb. Like, I don't know what they were thinking with that story, but I guess I'll see where it goes. Not really much else to say about him. And lastly we have the Hunter Hornet, I think is her name. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. There's her little kitty cat companion. I liked her, the whole tribal village and stuff, and their own language. I thought she was pretty cool. But the story itself, kinda meh. And that's it. Those were all the 8 characters. At this point in the video, I want to give a bigger shout out to the music of Octopath Traveler. It is fantastic. I don't know, this is a bit of a side note, but how the hell do these composers even do it? This game has like 90 unique orchestrated musical tracks. There is a few shorter jingles in there, but most are full 2 to 5 minute songs. I know little to nothing about making music, but that has to be an insane undertaking for one composer. Music is a huge part of JRPGs. Having fitting and catchy tracks for all the different towns and locations, multiple battle themes for different parts of the game, separate themes for boss battles, tracks for different story moments, it's all very important when the games are so long. The music can make or break a game, it can really hold you over through some of the more monotonous parts of the genre and elevate the rest. Octopath's soundtrack is great through and through. The character themes are great, the town themes, the battle themes, it's all good. But I wanna highlight one track in particular. I don't even think it's the best track, but for some reason it just speaks to me. I'm a sucker for violin, so that's probably partly why. It's the second battle theme. I think it starts playing in battles once you reach the chapter 2 areas. Let's give it a listen. Hey guys, when I said in the beginning of this video that I would be documenting my way through this game, I didn't know just how little I would have to say about this game, because the last time you guys saw me, I had just gathered all 8 party members, but now I'm 50 hours in already. So that was like a, I don't know, over a 30-hour jump. I didn't capture my reactions or film almost anything during that time. So now that I'm basically at the final stretch of the game, the only thing I have left to do are the Chapter 4 quests. I thought it would finally be time for me to catch you guys up on what's been going on. Right after the last clip, I obviously had to make the choice of which characters I wanted to use, you know, in my party, since you can only use 4 characters at a time. I decided to just pick the 4 characters that I like the most and just run the whole marathon with those 4. And then after that, if I still had the urge to play, I would then go back and do all the 4 other characters also. So which characters did I pick to be on my dream team? Well, the first choice was obviously Tressa, the merchant. She's my girl, she's my favorite character, the one that I'm most interested in seeing where her story goes. So she was the obvious number 1 choice, and the leader of my party, I guess you could say. And my next choice was Albrecht, the knight, which I already told you guys was my second favorite character at the start. I like his character and I'm also interested in how his story goes, so he was an obvious choice. And then my third favorite was Ophelia. I like me some emotional stories, and I could predict from Ophelia's backstory that hers was probably gonna be the most emotionally charged one out of all 8. So she was my third choice. And then my fourth choice, which was by far the hardest one, because all their stories were pretty much at the same level of intrigue for me, which was pretty low for all of them. So in the end I decided to just screw the stories. I was just gonna pick the 5th character based on which one of the 5 characters would serve me the most in terms of combat. And since I already had my offensive physical character Albrecht and my healer character Ophelia, and then the wild card Tressa, who you can't really depend to be your main offensive or defensive or any sort of character, she's sort of all over the place. A wild card, as I said. I thought the best addition to my party in terms of combat would be Cyrus, the scholar, because he is the offensive magic user who attacks multiple enemies at once. So he would be my crowd control. So that was my dream team that I was gonna go through the whole game with. Tressa, Ophelia, Albrecht, and Cyrus. So one by one I went through each of their chapter 2 quests, which, you know, expand on their stories a little bit more and sort of more concretely establishes what each of the characters want to achieve on their journey. And then I naturally moved on to the chapter 3 quests. At no point did I have to do any grinding. I think the game is balanced pretty well to the idea of you just picking 4 characters and going with those. Because if you play the game like that, the levels of your characters are pretty much always hovering right at the border of what the level requirements are for all the chapter quests. So you can always just hop from one quest to another and another and another and go on without ever grinding or worrying about anything. Most of the chapter 3 quests, you know, culminated in some sort of story highlight thing, and then also worked as a setup to the ending of each of the characters' stories. Because I know, I actually don't remember where I learned this, but every character just has 4 chapters to their story. So the chapter 3 quests sort of had to set up the conditions for the ultimate climax of each of the characters' stories. I gotta be 100% honest, my excitement towards the game has dwindled quite a bit as I've played more and more of it. Everything I said I liked about the game in my sort of first impressions still stand. You know, the combat, the music, the visuals, whatever else I mentioned. All of those are, you know, thumbs up all the way through. Unfortunately, it indeed has been the 4th thing that really hasn't done it for me, which is the story. And it's not really even the story. How would I even put this? Ultimately, it really comes down to the 8 individual stories idea. It just makes the game like, do this, then do this, then this, then this, then this, then this. It just makes it weirdly segmented, and the game just doesn't have a good flow. After a while you feel like you're just going through the motions. The fact that all the 8 individual stories only have 4 chapters to them, it just makes it feel like they can't delve deep into anything. All the conflicts that happen, all the relationships between any characters, they all feel very surface value. So the further and further I've gotten into the game, the more I've started noticing all these patterns it has in its storytelling and just the structure of the game, which has made everything very predictable, and I feel like the game just doesn't have it in itself to be able to surprise me anymore. I feel like before I had even completed all the chapter 2 quests, I felt like I had pretty much experienced all that the game had to offer. But now that I know that I'm right at the end of the game, where the only thing I haven't experienced yet are all the climaxes of all the characters that I care about, I'm getting into it again. I am really interested in seeing how the game will handle, you know, wrapping up these individual stories, and I wanna see where these characters' stories lead them. So yeah, the only thing left now is the grand finale, and I'm ready. I'll see you on the other side.
Lightning bolt.
Okay, here we are at the end of the road. I have now finished the game to the extent that I wanna finish it. So let's get right into it. What did I think of the 4 stories that I just completed? Without spoilers, of course. I loved Tressa's story from beginning to end, and I thought the ending was very fitting and nice. Her story is a very uplifting and fun coming-of-age tale. Albrecht's story was also great. He is very introspective, there's a lot of inner monologue, and many good heroic knight highlight moments. Ophelia's story was pretty good. I liked some of the turns it took, but was there that emotion I was hoping for? Not to the extent I was thinking there'd be, but it was okay. And Cyrus's story? It was alright, I guess. There was an interesting thing that happened when I finished Tressa's story. I of course saved her till last, and once it was over, the credits started rolling. That didn't happen when I finished the other 3 character stories, so first I thought it might be triggered once you beat the game with any 4 characters, but after the credits it said something to the effect of "you can now take Tressa out of your party." And then I realized it was because I had beaten the game with the character I chose at the beginning. So there is more to that choice than I thought back when I started. You can't take your chosen character out of your party until you fully complete their story. I never knew that because I never tried to take Tressa out of my party. Now at the end of this video here, I wanna summarize my thoughts about the game and mention a few things I didn't get the chance to yet. Give a sort of a little mini review, if you will. I feel like in the last clip I already sufficiently expressed my opinion on the whole 8 separate stories idea and how I felt it really hurt the game's pacing and possibly the depth of the stories. But I gotta reiterate what I just said about the stories. Even though they might not be that deep, doesn't mean they're bad. There's fun to be had with them, there's lots of twists and turns and good character moments. The The main characters, for the most part, are really well done, their personalities are likable, and the voice acting is great throughout. The battle system is very intuitive and fun with the boost point system that lets you do multiple regular attacks in one turn, or boost the effectiveness of a single skill. Another Bravely series inspired mechanic the game has that I haven't mentioned yet is the job system, where you can for example give Philia the secondary job of a knight, and then she'll be able to wield the same weapons and learn all the same skills that Albrecht can, on top of her own cleric stuff. I probably spent way more time in battles than most people because I became obsessed with Tressa's collect skill, which basically steals money from enemies. The tougher the enemy, the more money you get, and your success rate is based on how much health they have left. So for pretty much the whole game I never wanted to kill my enemies outright. I always had to lower their HP to as close to 0 as possible and then steal their cash one by one, which admittedly got a little tedious at points. But having started doing that from the second I picked Tressa as my starting character, I just couldn't stop. I got addicted to always being able to buy all those crazy expensive gear that taunt you at stores. But even still I had crazy amounts of money left at the end of the game, so I think I went a little overboard. When I first started playing the game, I heard people say that it gets very challenging at the end, and I was very much looking forward to it, but I gotta say I didn't experience that. If I remember correctly, I died twice during my playthrough, and both times it was on boss battles in the first half of the game. Oh, and by the way, the boss battles I thought were really good. I liked all the ways they made them mechanically a little different from each other, and the big boss sprites look awesome. But yeah, the difficulty, for my taste it could have been a bit harder, but it's not as easy as many other JRPGs, so it's not that big of a deal. The boss battles were usually a decent challenge. One other actual gripe I have with the game is that I don't like the world map. I feel like it's very uninspired and a bit messy. All the towns feel like they're very close together, which makes the map feel small, which in turn sort of undermines the whole sense of adventure feel some of the stories try to go for. Instead of going on a long journey, it makes it feel more like they're just having a little scuffle on their backyard, and at the end of the day they just return home. Lastly, I of course have to mention what they're calling the HD 2D visual style. I like it. The pixel art style looks very good with the strong depth of field and all the lighting effects. It is a little limiting in terms of character expressiveness in story cutscenes, but I still liked it. So overall, I like Octopath Traveler. I think it's a good game. I loved it in the beginning, but certain things brought it down a few pegs along the way, but then it picked up again at the end. It's a rather simplistic JRPG. It won't blow you away, it has its flaws, but the good combat system and decent characters combined with a nice presentation should provide you with some fun times. My interest didn't last long enough to complete all 8 stories, but I got my money's worth from the 60 hours it took me to go through the stories that I personally found interesting. I would recommend the game for fans of JRPGs who are looking for a new, modern game to play, and especially to those who maybe played JRPGs in the past but have since fallen out of them. I think it's a good game to maybe get you back into the genre. And I think it could also work as a decent introduction to players completely new to the genre. Well, there we have it. This was a very impromptu and experimental video idea. It went a bit all over the place, but I had fun. I don't think it's the magic formula that I've been searching for years, the very elusive type of video that I wanna dedicate my channel to, but it was worth a shot, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.